Happy Saturday, everyone. I'm in Nanaimo, British Columbia, okay, on Vancouver Island. And today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about calcium deposits. Okay, now, whether you believe this or not, calcium deposits are, I've got a calcium deposit in my breast. I've got gallstones. I've got kidney stones. I've got gout. I've got arthritis, okay? I've got a tumor. All of these are calcium deposits. Now, before I jump back into this, what I'd like to talk about is, it is Canada Day in Canada, okay? And guess what's coming on July 4th for everybody in the United States? It's Independence Day. First of all, I want to tell you something. There's no such thing as independence. There is no such thing as independence. You can believe it or not believe it. You know what? If I were to live like the majority, I don't know how they do it. I swear to God, I do not know how they do it. And when people say they're doing good, they're not doing good. They're actually doing really not so good, let me tell you. The only actual independence is inner dependence. Now, how many people have interdependence? Now, interdependence means that you are at peace. It means that there can be chaos going on in the world, which there always is. There always is. There's hardly a reprieve because the government in every country, okay, guess what? Works for an internal government. That internal government is the royals, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. They date back not thousands of years, but 100,000 years. And you're not going to believe it, but why don't you do your homework? So independence my butt for a second, would you? There is no independence. Woohoo! Independence! We just got over the war. Okay, but guess what? Here comes some more. Okay, but guess what? We don't get it yet, that everything is a cycle, okay? It just keeps on going over and over again. There is no independence here in the United States. LOL, you are correct. No, and guess what? The reality is it's called the harvest. And the reality is this, is guess, look what people put up with. Look what they put up with. And the reality is we keep telling them, okay, that it's okay for the way they mistreat us, not treat us. Okay, and if you actually took it even the word therapist, because most therapists aren't therapists. If you broke up the word, guess what it is? Okay, the rapist. That's right. If you broke up the word therapist, and most therapists are raping people of their independence because they're having people be patients and not learn how to be healers and heal themselves. The reality is that you can go to 99% of the practitioners that are called medical care, and you can go to at least 80% of the so-called natural health care, and they're going to keep you a victim every time you go. Because guess what? Practitioners, are taught. Practitioners are taught to treat, not train. And until we learn that we have to train our patients to become their own healers so that they can become their own practitioners, so they can call themselves a doctor. And doctor means teacher. And if you think that the medical people are doctors, then guess what? Then you don't even know what independence is, because you can't have independence until you know how to love and care for yourself. And I'm going to tell you something right now. The only time you're going to have independence, okay, on any level, okay, is when you stop sucking off your family for love and you get them to stop sucking it off on you. And you don't know what I'm talking about? I'll tell you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how you become tankful. You fill up your own tank, your own heart with love. And you know what? You don't allow anybody to disrespect you ever again. If you don't, you take a look at the food they put on your plate, and if it doesn't vibrate higher than you, why are you eating it? If you look at something to drink and it doesn't vibrate higher than you, you don't drink it. And look at, I'm not a hypocrite. I eat and I drink and I think and I live right. And I'm telling you right now, I I don't need the challenge, but the reality is I'm up to this. I don't care what the government does, what the Rockefellers do, what the Rothschilds do, what little Justin does, or Billy Willie. They can do whatever they want. But guess what? I will be independent because I have interdependence where I know I have to love and care for myself. And I have to. And if you don't know how to do that, you won't make enough money. They will suck everything out of you. You know, the majority of the population actually buy health insurance because they know they're going to be sick. How's that? Isn't that something? I don't need to buy health insurance because I'm ever going to be sick, because I'm not going to. You're going to see when I don't come on for 3 days, it's because I need to kick back. I need to just kick back and look at this beautiful world, and I need to go in and get some more interdependence, which means I have to be quiet and just be with what the world calls Daryl, which is just a spirit being having a physical adventure down here. So if I don't learn to become emotionally and stay emotionally balanced, when there's chaos, I will be out of balance. And understand something. Take a look at your family. What does it take, okay, to have them crap their drawers? Not much. Most of them are so addicted to adrenaline. I said adrenaline because guess what? They're all druggies, okay? Druggies. And you're a druggie when you're addicted to adrenaline, which means you're a druggie when you're addicted to the news. You're adrenaline when you're addicted to, did you hear? Did you hear what happened? Oh my God, did you hear there's going to be a war? Did you hear? Oh my God, did you hear about the tornado? Did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? No, I don't need to hear about any of it because guess what? I am my world. And I want to share that with everyone and have them understand that walk away, turn away. Focus on only what you want. And the only reason why you don't have what you want is because you don't focus on what you want. You focus on what they want for you. Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Let me tell you, one out of 1,000 people, okay, are awake. 1 out of 10,000 are awoken. Do you know what that means, awoken? Well, the majority of the population is in the present moment, 2 to 5%. So there's some real science for you. And the reality is that 1 out of every 1,000 are probably in the present moment, 10%. And then guess what? 1 out of every 10,000, and please, this is not me bragging, but 1 out of 10,000 are like myself, connected to my breath, connected to a slight smile, and I have a filter. And I have a barometer. And if if the vibration of the person, the vibration of the food, the vibration of the information, the communication is not high elevation, then I'm not going to listen to it. I'm going to walk away from it because it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. And if you take a look at what comes out of everybody's mouths, 95% of what comes out of everybody's mouths, almost everybody's mouths, is garbage. Okay? And people aren't garbage, but their beliefs are garbage because guess what? We fell for it. We fell for it. The Rockefellers, you know what they did? They did a study and they proved that you have to send a child to school for 12 years to make them into a robot. Welcome to the Matrix, okay? Now we're going to get off of that and just tell you that there is no Independence Day. What a bunch of crap. Independence from a war we didn't have to fight, but then you're going to say, you don't know what you're talking about, Dr. Wolf, and or you don't know what you're talking about, quack. And the reality is that every war that was ever started, okay, was started because these psychos, okay, needed somebody's gold, somebody's banking, or somebody's land, or they were just having a tantrum, and they talked us into going and killing our brothers and sisters. So Independence Day, my butt. And I'm not upset because it's never going to stop, because the majority of the population is never going to listen to a quack like me. And that's for God's sakes, certain. So anyways, let's get away from that topic and just know this, okay? Just know this. If you did wear a slight smile, if you got yourself a love band, a hair band, elastic band, and every time you snap that band, because that's a kiss, and it's as snug as a hug, and every time you snap it, it's because guess what? You're just saying, no more, no more. And then when you snap it and you give yourself a kiss and this is snug as a hug, you're going to turn away as soon as you do and you're going to turn away on an emotional or physical level, and you're going to go to your passion, your purpose, your gift, and then you're going to become really good at it, and then you're going to gift the world with it, and then you're going to feel so good about yourself. You're going to be so empowered. You're going to quit your job. You're going to find your passion, and that's called interdependence. That's called interdependence, and you better get it. And I'm going to tell you something, all right? You know, I used to say, I'm not a fighter, I'm a lover. But I'm going to tell you something. That's BS too, because I'm going to fight for love. I'm going to fight for love all day long. And on this planet, you got to fight for love. Everybody talks about love, but nobody knows where to get it because you keep looking outside yourself and you keep looking for someone else because I can't survive without love. Well, yes, you can, okay? That God spot is in our heart, and if we tap on that and then we fill our heart up by just pushing that button, fill your heart up with love every day so that you don't have to demand that your mother, your brother, your sister, your uncle, your children, or anybody has to be in charge of helping you feel that you're good enough. Let me tell you something. I don't care if the whole world thinks I'm not good enough, I'm still great. I walk around and I talk to myself, you are the most logical, intelligent lecturer, doctor on this planet. Go out and prove it. Well, I have to stand in my power to do that. This is not ego. This is not selfishness. This is me going, guess what? I have to rise up. I have to stand in my power. I have to show everyone, because let me tell you something right now, and please do not throw tomatoes at me today. Okay? All right? Because it's such a beautiful day. Okay? Let me tell you something. Please don't get me wrong. And if it makes you feel good, you go do it. But guess what? First we had religion come along. Not all religion, but most of it. We had religion come along and tell us that if we suffered today, we'd have heaven tomorrow. What a bunch of BS. What a bunch of BS. Heaven is right now. And that's that inner peace. That's that loving yourself unconditionally, never judging yourself, only observing yourself. Because as soon as you judge yourself, you put yourself in jail. Some people put themselves in jail. Do you want to know something? I had one of my children call me up, and because they don't have enough money to go do something, okay? All right? It's a long weekend and I need to go do this. You know, I'm just short some money and I just want to go. And, you know, part of me says, yeah, well, of course I could give it to my child, but they're not my child, they're adults. But I decide no, because I can't. And that child says, well, you just have a really great weekend. I'm just going to kill myself. And I go, you too, honey. Bye. See, and do I get upset? No, I'm not going to get upset. Are them going to kill themselves? No. It's all this drama. So my own child, being an adult, is addicted to adrenaline. So if she doesn't get adrenaline every so often, she's not getting higher off of it. When you could get high off this. 3, 2, 1, I got this. 3, 2, 1, I love myself. 3, 2, 1, I care for myself. How would you like to be in bliss? Do you know what loving yourself and caring for yourself is? It's bliss. It's empowerment. And once you do it long enough and strong enough, still selling fake HIV cures? Okay, I'm not sure what that's about. But a long time ago, so somebody's on here from TikTok, and you know, everybody's got to poke at you, right? So back when I was around 32 years old, okay, I was doing ozone on HIV patients. And what happened was, I hope I don't get kicked off from TikTok from saying this, but I used to say that you could, you know what, HIV, you could turn it completely around. And understand something. The reason why I used to say it back then is because they never ever isolated the virus. So how hard would it be to turn around something that never really existed? So, you know, people like to poke at people. Like, see, this guy here just came on and he wants to try to poke at me. Well, there's always going to be something you can poke at a guy like me about. And understand something. He's a little bit too cocky. We're going to take him down a couple notches. So I just want to say something right now. Everybody on here, you can love me, you can hate me. I'm going to love you anyway. I understand what God truly is for me, and that is unconditional love and care. That means that if a person's belief systems don't match mine, I'm not going to attack them, okay? I'm not poking, call me by name, buddy. Dylan, Anyways, so he is poking. And the reality is this. Yeah, I know. They used, well, we won't get into that. They used a cancer drug that was taken off the market that was never supposed to be used again for HIV patients. We won't get into that. That's that whole controversial thing. Again, we'll go down the hole. The big thing is what I need to tell you is mind your own business, everyone. If you don't mind your own business, like I'm not going to let Dylan distract me, okay? He wants to distract me. And what do they want to do? What does the government want to do? The medical system, the big pharma want to do? What do the elites want to do? They want to keep you distracted, because if you were to unconditionally want to love and care for yourself and mind your own business and stop hating things. I hate broccoli. I hate East Indians. Blah, 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 blah. Why do we do that? Because we're programmed to do that, okay? I love every person on this planet. And if I can't show unconditional love to someone, then I will walk away to where I can show unconditional love to something, so I keep my vibration up. So I need to focus on what really turns me on, not what turns me off, okay? So anybody can come on here and attack me. Go ahead and attack me, and I will answer it to the best of my ability. But understand something. I'm a human being, okay? I'm not going to get it right all the time, but I am going to do one thing. I am going to love and care for myself and know that it's not a selfish act, and I'm not going to go to hell for it. Most people believe that if they were to totally unconditionally love themselves, that they would be punished somehow in some way, because for everything that you supposedly do wrong, there has to be a punishment with it. Well, what if we stop punishing each other and start observing and start loving and caring for each other and finding why that person is not in harmony, not in alignment with themselves? Okay? All right? Anyways, I'm going to tell you something. I am going to do the best I can. Just know this. I will, if somebody really wants, they can come on live with me. And I go on my platforms and I do consultations, and I'll do a full consult with the person live. Now, why do I do that? Well, I do it because that person who's talking is telling the truth. And then it gives me time to just really go in and show people that they can cure anything. You can be cured from anything. The invisible creates the physical, the psychological rules the biological. God has always beyond loved you, never judged you. But if you need to believe in that, then you go ahead and find out how that belief system heals you and how much independence you're going to have, because you haven't given yourself the right to unconditionally love yourself. So you'll never, ever heal. You'll never heal. I just love when people come to me and they go, Dr. Wolf, if it's God's will, really? If it's God's will? I think it's called teamwork, okay? I think it's called teamwork. So if you want independence, okay, or you want to celebrate Canada Day, why don't you celebrate your day? Why don't you celebrate you on how you're still alive after they've been trying to kill you since you got here? I mean, your parents did the best they could, but they didn't know how to love themselves, care for themselves, feed themselves. Definitely didn't know how to do it for a baby. Why is it that women are dropping babies right now and they can't even hold the babies because their pelvis is rotting out? Why do you think we put a course together called 3-Day Pelvic Restoration and Disease Prevention, which is just totally mind-blowing, and any woman can take it? And after you take that course, you will wake up, let me tell you. Go to BraveHeartNation.com. This isn't a sales pitch, because there is no course like this. There's no course like the courses I give. We give a money-back guarantee on the first day. If you don't think it's everything you want, we'll give you your money back. We give you a money-back guarantee on our consultations and on our treatments. So tell me who I am. People don't know who I am. Who I am is knowing this, that I must unconditionally love myself and everybody else on this planet, damn it. And if I can't seem to get there, then I need to focus where my attention will bring that unconditional love back into my heart right away. Because if you don't, you will be not at ease and you will get a disease. All right, let me just talk about something here. I made a promise to a lady yesterday, and she's got calcium deposits in her breast. So this is going to take a few minutes, but I hope to give you the best explanation of what's going on with that. Now, first of all, the same calcium deposits that are in the breast can be in the gallbladder, and they can be in the kidneys. They can be for gout, they can be for arthritis, and they can be for any tumor. Now, when a woman gets calcium deposits in her breast, the reason why is it is the last stage before what the medical system get into calling cancer. I call stage 4 inflammation. Because if you call something stage 4 inflammation, you're able to mentally process that you can reverse it. If you call it cancer, we've all been indoctrinated that cancer is a death sentence. Because if everybody that got so-called cancer, which I say is stage 4 inflammation, if they got cancer and they believe the definition that the medical system told them, then they'd be going home and packing and getting ready to leave the planet. Yes or no? Tell me yes or no. So everything is programming and everything has a vibration. So let's just call it stage 4 inflammation. So now understand something, okay? Inflammation, okay, all right, creates calcification. Now, whether you believe it or not, calcium is the main mineral in the human body, and for good reason. It creates our structure, but for good reason. That which we call God, okay, knew that we were going to pull a lot of calcium from our bones. Now, who pulls the calcium from the bones? Well, how about one of my children that were saying they were going to kill themselves? Well, I'll just stay home this weekend and kill myself. You know, the reality is that every time that you try to get high on adrenaline, because you're an adrenaline junkie, adrenaline and cortisol and histamine are very acidic. And every time you do that, I guarantee you're not making a salad. You're drinking something very acidic, something very toxic. You're eating a processed food. Remember something, the way you think and the way you vibrate will match your diet, okay? Which will match your health as well. So have sick thoughts and you're going to get sick. Have healthy thoughts, you're going to have healthy thoughts. And know that you deserve to be healthy, and because a lot of people want things, but they don't believe they deserve them because they have belief systems that make them guilty, so they don't deserve them because they need to suffer. You need to suffer to get to heaven, right? Okay, all right? Go work with that one and find out how much fun that is. So the reality is this. When we become inflamed, okay, inflammation, we're an inflammation nation, yes or no? When we become inflamed, and the word is inflame, okay, you're on fire. So what do you need when you're on fire? Well, we know that there'll be swelling in the area. Wherever there's swelling, there's healing usually. And that's the waters to cool it down, the waters to help to heal it. It's an environment to heal it, so you'll have swelling. But you'll also have calcium being pulled from, if it's the breasts that are on fire, because they're infected. Now, how did the breasts get infected? Well, because the lymph system got backed up, and there is some emotional attachment to the breast, because if you can't address an emotion, you're going to suppress an emotion, and depending on the emotion will depend on where it gets suppressed and where it gets lodged into the body, whether you believe that or not. If you get a Perfect Day guide or get a Perfect Day consult, we'll send you a guide and it'll show you all this is true, this is real science. You know, your body is always messaging you and saying, hey, do you think you could love me? Do you think you could put that drink down? Do you think you could start eating better? Do you think you could hydrate? Do you think you could do some exercise? Do you think you could think about us here? We're 50 trillion cells, 500 trillion bacteria, and we're screaming for love. That's right, everything is vibrational, and this stuff is alive. But here we go. So, are you ready? So what stores inflammation and infection? Fat cells. We have never eaten so much shit emotionally and physically in our life. This is why people are so obese. This is why, you ready for this? Oh God. So now we've got 90% of the population overweight. Isn't that something? We got 65% of the population obese. Ready for that? Now, they're not obese and they're not overweight. They just have a lot of fat cells. The fat cells are to store the inflammation and to store the infection, okay? Because if they didn't, they would have mutation. Do you get it? So if I store the infection and I store the inflammation, because the infection brings the pH down, and the inflammation, ready for this, will burn up the oxygen and the minerals. Are you hearing me? And the inflammation will also cause dehydration of the tissues. Tell me that a person with an arthritic joint, it's soft. It's hard because it's calcified and it's scar tissue. Tell me somebody with a tumor, it's soft like a sponge ball. No, it's hard because it's calcified, dehydrated tissue. Okay, so now we know that fat cells are made to store inflammation and infection. Okay, so are you with me so far? What are the breasts made out of? A lot of it is fat cells. So the body says, we're too exhausted, too tired, we got 2 storage tanks up here. So the toxins, the infection, okay, and the inflammation goes to the breast to be stored in the fat cells. Are you with me so far? So now it says, we can't take it. There's too much inflammation. So now we need to pull the calcium from the sternum and from the ribs, okay? And then the calcium gets pulled, and the calcium ions and the calcium, metabolic calcium, goes into the breast. And it says, this is your last chance, baby. If you don't get the cork out of your butt and do some bowel cleansing, okay? And if you don't do some liver cleansing, because you've backed it all up, you backed up your lymph system. That's why, you know, you either don't sweat anymore, okay? You don't sweat, or you're sweating crazily because you're in a crisis. Or when you sweat, you smell, and it smells like your bum. That's how we've backed up the waist so bad. Are you with me? It's the same as when somebody, you know, goes to roll over in the morning and say, honey, I love you. Happy Independence Day. Oh, please, 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 don't kiss me. Go brush your teeth. It smells like somebody pooped in your mouth. And that's because hot air rises and you're rotting inside. So as we're rotting inside, because it's all called leaky gut. And what happens is leaky gut's actually leaky large intestine. And the actual poo particles are going into your pelvis. You get this? And they irritate and inflame the ovaries. And your ovaries are in trouble before your breasts are ever in trouble. Did you know that? Okay, and then that can go into your bloodstream, and then because your colon's backing up, your lymph system cannot dump into the large intestine where most lymph is dumped into to get rid of the waste. But you're already backed up and sluggish in the waste, so you back up your lymph. So now this is your lymph system. Okay, let's go back to the story. So now you're pulling calcium from your sternum and your ribs, and it's going into your breast, so now you got calcium deposits. So understand that now it's time to wake up. So whenever you find deposits like gallstones, that's too much cholesterol because you're so acidic. But understand, cholesterol doesn't kill you. Your body just makes more of it to try to goop up the small cracks that are in your arteries, so that the calcium that you're pulling when your blood is really acidic, because it can't get too acidic or you'll go into a coma or die, the calcium goes into the blood, and it would rather goop up the cracks that are in your arteries with something like candle wax, which cholesterol is like. So, because if the little calcium gets in there, it's like a shard, and it's like coral. If it cuts that artery, then a blood clot will be released. How many people here know? Are you ready for this? How many people here know that 95 to 98% of all strokes and all heart attacks are actually caused because of what I just said, because of a blood clot, okay, being released from the cutting of an artery from the calcium that's like a calcium shard. They don't tell you that, do they? Do your homework, because they're not going to tell you this. They don't want you to know how important the large intestine is for the whole health of your body. They don't want you to know that when you start getting osteopenia and osteoporosis, that you are so acidic and so inflamed that all the other autoimmune diseases are coming because you're using that calcium to try to buffer down the pH. Okay, so now you got these calcium deposits. Now you've got scar tissue in your breast. Now you've got, feel under your arms, everyone, especially ladies. And do you feel any fat? Like, is there any fat under there? Because it's not fat, it's actually congested lymph. Okay, and also smell under your arms too. And if your armpits smell at all, well, that's because you've been pooping into your armpits. That's how much waste you've been absorbing. And they're not going to tell you that either, are they? So guess what? Now here comes the part I will tell you, that if we were to put you on a perfect day diet, and this doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if it's calcium in the breasts, okay, or if it's calcium in the gallbladder, or in the kidneys, or in the joints, or in the muscle tissue. But remember that every disease or every physical problem has inflammation, calcification, and scar tissue formation. The calcification and the crystallization and the scar tissue formation are the blocks. Did you know that you would never have pain? You'd never have swelling. You'd never have stiffness, which everybody thinks stiffness is old age. And I'll be 67 in just, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks. I can't even, it doesn't matter about birthdays to me. You know, the celebration days don't matter. Every day is a celebration. Every moment is a celebration. And if every day was a celebration and every moment was a celebration and your actual celebration was you loving and caring for yourself, then you'd never get sick. You wouldn't have a cold or a flu. So why don't we just play a little game here and see when Dr. Wolf catches his first cold or flu. Let's find out when Dr. Wolf has his first disease, autoimmune disease. Good luck with that, okay? And you can just go, you'll get yours, you'll get yours, you'll see, you'll get yours. And that's what we usually do, you know. But the reality is I'm not going to get mine because it's not mine. I'll tell you what is mine. Everything that's in high vibration is mine because I am high vibrational. How fast can you let go of a problem on an emotional or physical level? How fast can you let go? Now, when you let go of the problem, do you go back and get more, or do you just create a different life? Do you create a different life? Let me tell you something. I don't know what's going on in my life. Well, because you keep repeating the same thing. If you're going to do the same thing, you're going to get the same thing, you know. And that's the reality. I mean, I've had to walk away from people, lovingly walk away. I've had to walk away from things that I do. I've had to walk away from people that I partnered with. I definitely had to walk away from the corner stores, the liquor store. I had to walk away from toxic relationships. And, you know, the reality is what are you worth? What are you worth? Most people believe they're not worth much because if you were worth everything, then you wouldn't be getting sick. You know, like I was just on the phone with one of my practitioners. Her name is Lori. And she actually said to me, she said, yeah, I just went to a family gathering and everybody got sick. And I said, yeah, they got sick because it was a family gathering. And she said, oh my God, you're right. There was a lot of animosity and anxiety. And I said, yeah, that's why people get sick, because the emotional rules the physical body. And most people don't understand it's energy and motion. And the reality is I'm going to tell you something. For me to be healthy, wealthy, it's so simple. And it's not because of anything except that I bless myself with that every day by observing and not judging. And I can look at something and it can be totally wrong, but I don't have to attach the emotion to it. Why is it that you feel you need to suffer for your family? Why is it that you feel you need to get so angry because somebody isn't acting or doing or being something that you believe they should be? Why do we say that people are stupid? People aren't stupid. They just have stupid beliefs, and they're not stupid. You know, if you got healthy beliefs, you're healthy. You know, if you've got beliefs that it's easy to make money, then guess what? It's easy to make money. And seeing that most of the world has poverty thinking, most people are struggling. And you can tell me it's the economy, but the economy will never rule me, and either will my family, whether they want to be emotionally happy or emotionally sad. Remember something. Your personality is your reality. If you want a different reality, you change your personality. Sometimes you have to walk away. Sometimes you have to walk away with a smile on your face and just breathe and go for the higher mountain. You can do this, okay? So anyways, I hope I mentioned about the calcium deposits and I explained it right to Jennifer. And just know this, Jennifer, that if you get Wolf non-surgical and Cellsonic, I'll give you a money-back guarantee that, let's say the calcium deposit was as big as a grape, okay, calcium deposit. Okay, after the first treatment, we should reduce that by 30 to 40%. Now, if we do non-surgical and we do the Cellsonic on you, which is an energy medicine device that has 25,000 volts in a field. So you're not getting 25,000 volts. 120 volts would kill you. but this is in a field, so it actually will break up and fracture the calcium. Then we use non-surgical. You get on a Perfect Day diet where if you look at my 4 pillars of the Perfect Day in my library, start there. But I would suggest you get a Perfect Day consultation. It's $150, and you'll get lifetime support. Even if your practitioner who's guiding you leaves, we'll give you a new one, or you'll call me. My number's 469-861-9454, and I do call everybody back. I might miss 1 out of 1,000 calls, but the reality is I do call everyone back, because guess what? Well, we were supposed to be family, weren't we? We were supposed to love and care for ourselves and each other, weren't we? And understand something. I'll leave something with you just to let you know. It's very hard to have everyone come together. The whole thing was a really evil plot. Why do you think there's so many different languages? Why do you think there's so many different religions? Why do you think there's so many different rituals? It's to keep us apart. Just think if we all spoke the same language and we had the same vibration. Well, we could. It could be called unconditional love. Why don't you give it a shot just for yourself today? And then that means if you make any type of mistake, or you believe you're going to let go of sinner's syndrome or the failure syndrome, that means if you make a mistake, you're going to fall forward. You're going to dust yourself off and go, I love you. And you would be talking to yourself. And do that in the mirror. Every time you go to the bathroom, don't walk out of the bathroom unless you say, I love you with all my heart. I will love you, honor you, respect you, protect you before anyone else or anything else. So help me God. Just think, if you did that, what could you do for everyone else? Give it a shot. Give unconditional love a shot. Have a beautiful day and have a great weekend, everyone.